Hey there, it's Blair here at Time Trades, and this is your tutorial on the Vibration Intraday script. I want to call out that everything I'm going to show is based on invite-only TradingView scripts. So in order to take advantage and follow along and do what I'm about to show you, you will need to first sign up for a 15-day trial at timetrades.com, and then you will be automatically granted access to all these scripts. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get started. We're going to flip over to TradingView, and again, our focus is on the Vibration Intraday script. So I'm going to bring up indicators here. We're looking at NQ on a 15-minute chart, so this is NQ futures. And let's look up intraday. Actually, let's look up vibration. There we go. Vibration Sandbox Intraday. That is the name of the script. We're going to add that to the chart. Okay, so after you add it, nothing will happen. And the reason is there are lots and lots of settings that you need to set. So I'm going to show you how to identify what values to put in these settings so that you can get a good outcome. Let me just first take a step back here and explain a little bit what's going on. You are building a composite vibration based on cycles supported by the script. So the output is going to be a single yellow line that waves up and down according to where the planetary harmonics are. And in this case, in the intraday version of the script, we support the moon, and we support the ascendant harmonics anchored to these different synodic cycles. So we've got synodic cycles between the ascendant and a slower planet like the moon or the north node or Mercury, Venus, etc. We have synodic cycles between the midheaven and different planets, and we have synodic cycles between the part of fortune and different planets. So the process is to basically enable these harmonics, set the desired harmonic number. So for example, if you're looking at ascendant relative to the moon, and we set the harmonic number to 1 here, then you can see a cycle that oscillates based on that frequency. If you want it to oscillate faster, you increase the number to 2. And now you get twice the vibrations. So you could, in theory, just sit down and trial and error all the different combinations and permutations of these, but I know your time is valuable, and you can get a very good outcome very quickly by following the steps I'm about to explain. So we're going to turn that off. And the answer to what to put into this script lives on the natal chart. So because we're dealing with NASDAQ, we're using the natal chart here for the NASDAQ, which started trading the 8th of February, 1971 at 10 a.m. All right. So what we're looking for here, and I use Astro-Seek to find the natal information. What we're looking for here, and the way you bring this up actually on Astro-Seek is when you first create a chart, you're going to see this birth chart here. The easiest way to consume the information we need is to actually go to aspect tables. Now, when you're dealing with intraday, I prefer to use geocentric. In fact, all of these cycles are geocentric because we're dealing with the moon and ascendant and midheaven, and none of that makes sense heliocentric. So we're good with geocentric here. And we're looking at aspect tables, and I just like to click on list of aspects down here. And then we can see the geocentric aspects that were active at the time of first trade date of the NASDAQ. So keeping this information in mind, you may want to screenshot this or snapshot this because I'm going to be going back to the TradingView script, and I'm going to be using this information to set up our composite vibration using the Time Trades Vibration Intraday script. Okay, so let's start with the moon. I like to start with the moon on these things. And maybe what I can do here is let's just shrink this down a little bit, and we can resize this so that we can see both at once. Okay, there we go. All right, so using the Sandbox Intraday, okay, what we are noticing here in terms of what was active on the first trade date is what stands out is what you want to look for is first conjunctions. There are no conjunctions with the moon. Next is oppositions, and we see a very, very close opposition between the moon and Mercury. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here in our settings, and we are going to turn on Moon Mercury. And when dealing with the moon, I like to use a 27 harmonic because that is the Vedic nakshatra. It's like a fine-grained zodiac sign, except instead of 12 signs, there's 27 of them. And I find that to be very effective, especially on day trading charts. Okay, so we've added the Moon Mercury 27th harmonic here, and you can see already that that was incredibly effective at picking the top, and we've only added one so far. So let's add some more, and we can incrementally go through the rest of these. And I like to do it in order of, I guess, closeness to an exact aspect. So the next closest aspect, we have 3 trines, so that's every 120 degrees. And the next closest one is Moon trine Neptune at 2-degree orb, okay? So we can turn on Moon Neptune 27, and instead of drawing a new line, it takes that wave, that harmonic wave, and incorporates it, combines it in with the second wave, or the first wave that we identified here, Moon Mercury, and it's creating a composite wave, okay? And the green vertical line is where that wave changes direction, okay? That's all the green vertical line is. And these waves, they are not directional, okay? Meaning if the wave is going down, that doesn't mean price is going down. If the wave is going up, that doesn't mean price is going to go up. All we're looking for is where these vibrations begin and end, and how does that line up with price? So we could have a vibration down coinciding with a high, or a vibration up coinciding with a low. You can see here we've got a vibration up coinciding with a low. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's move on to the next one. The next best lunar aspect is Moon trine Jupiter at 3 degrees. So we're going to take that and we're going to use the same harmonic, 27th harmonic, and that will get incorporated into the composite wave. And then we've got 2 more here that we can consider. We can consider trine Mars, which is really wide at 9 degrees, or we can consider sextile Pluto, which is 1 degree separating, which means it's 1 degree past exact. So in general, I prefer applying aspects, and also in general, I prefer tight aspects. So let's just add Moon Pluto here, 27, and see what that looks like. So there's still a little bit of trial and error here, but it's much more targeted using the information in the natal chart. Okay, so why don't we just pause here? We've got 4 moon aspects, which is plenty. The next step is we're going to go through and take a look at the Ascendant and the MC or Midheaven, and also the part of fortune aspects down here. Okay, so the Ascendant is square Mercury and also trine Lilith. So Lilith is the lunar apogee. We don't have support for Lilith at the moment in the script. That's something that I aspire to add in the future. But for now, we can add the Ascendant and Mercury because that's a very tight aspect. So let's scroll up here and we'll turn on Ascendant Mercury. And when dealing with these fast aspects like the Ascendant, I like to use the one harmonic so that things don't go too fast. I mean, it's up to you if you like lots of signals, if you're good with trading on 1 minute charts and you want to see lots of fine-grained signals, you can certainly increase that. It's up to you, but 1 is the slowest harmonic that we can typically use with the Ascendant. Okay, so the next one that we want to add is the Midheaven. Now, so we've got Midheaven trine Lilith, which we don't support. So instead, we're going to use Midheaven trine Saturn, which is the tightest angle here. So let's find that. That's down here under Midheaven harmonics, and we can turn on Midheaven Saturn. Activate that with a 1 harmonic. Okay, so that's now part of our recipe. And then next up, we can go and take a look at the part of fortune. So if we scroll down here, we can see the best aspect between the part of fortune and another planet happens to be conjunct Uranus at 0 degrees. So that is excellent. We can go down here and add that. Part of fortune Uranus, 1 Ascendant, and we're done. So now we can go back and so we've added everything that we think is important based on the natal chart. We've got 4 moon aspects with Mercury, Neptune, Jupiter, and Pluto, all using the 27th harmonic. And we've got the Ascendant Mercury cycle at the 1st harmonic, Midheaven Saturn at the 1st harmonic, and part of fortune Uranus at the 1st harmonic. So now we can go through and inspect our vibration and see if this is something that we can trade. Now, a very quick inspection here identifies some incredible hits. We can see like this high over here. We got it exact. This high over here, we got it exact. The end of this move down, exact. Looks like the end of this moved down and it turned into sort of a consolidation / continuation. And now we're over here at the end of the week. So let's scroll back and see how else it did. So we've got a line up here indicating a vibration completed here. Look at that, nailed the FOMC low on Wednesday. And a few kind of minor consolidation prices here, but look at this, I got the end of this move very, very nicely. So overall, I think this is an excellent example of applying the intraday vibration script and what's possible when doing that. So the next thing I want to show is how to combine this with the improved diurnal script. Diurnal means daily motion, and we're going to add that to the chart. And what we're going to do is we're going to configure the diurnal to use the same settings that were important based on the natal chart. So we've got the diurnal over here, and we can see here how we can use the ascendant conjunctions with, say, Mercury over here, because we know Mercury is important. So let's turn that on, right? And these are basically going to be our trigger points, okay? So we've got ascendant, descendant, Mercury is going to be active. Now under the MC, we're using Saturn. So we can turn on Saturn. And then under part of fortune, we're using, which one are we using again? We're using part of fortune in Uranus because it's conjunct and basically exact in the natal chart. Okay, so now we've got these three labels will be displayed every time these angles like the ascendant or the midheaven or the part of fortune conjunct these planets, okay? So what I look at these labels as basically trigger points. These are like very, very fine-grained identifiers of key points in the cycle. And so these are not aggregate vibrations, but they relate, but all of these points are important to the vibration calculation that is the yellow line here. So it gives you a little bit more, I guess, precision in seeing, okay, we've got these three cycles are all conjunct, so they're going to be starting a new cycle right here, okay? And you can see that cycle low is right here on the green line, and then it starts moving up again. And then we've got some new cycles starting down here with the IC and descendant. So this gives you a little bit of an X-ray view into what's going on under the hood of the yellow line. This can be helpful in your trading as you can take a look at what's happening and what's contributing to the movement of the yellow composite vibration line. The other thing we can do with the diurnals, and I'm done with Astro-Seek, we can close that up. The other thing we can do with the diurnals, of course, we can turn on bands. And when you turn on bands, and I'm going to spread these out, 36 is way too many lines. What happens is we get a series of red, orange, and yellow bands that represent the movement of the ascendant, descendant, and MC throughout the day. So these will go through 24-hour cycles because they're tied to the spinning motion of the Earth. Diurnal, of course, means daily. So all of these will go through a complete cycle every 24 hours. But you can see how times like, especially when you get like 0 degree times in the diurnals, those tend to align quite a bit with changes in trend. So we can see a change in trend down here with the yellow line resetting at 360 degrees, and the yellow line is the midheaven. And then we can take a look at the orange. Here's the orange line resetting at 360 degrees. That's the ascendant. And you can also use these bands. You can see that it creates this pattern of like, let me just hide the vibration here for a sec. See, this creates this pattern of almost like a channel going up. These channels can act as support and resistance levels as well. And often you can see like major turns happening close to those 360 degree levels. And the best example of that is up here. So on Thursday, July 31st, at 4 a.m., we did indeed get a major turn at the yellow line resetting, which is the midheaven, okay? Just as the midheaven was conjuncting Saturn, which we know is important because the midheaven and Saturn are coupled through the natal chart. And then that's when the rollover started, okay? So super interesting ways to look at price action here when you have some knowledge about the natal chart and use that to inform your chart settings. So we can turn on the vibration again, and now we can see how that vibration bottomed right near the midheaven resetting at 0 degrees, and that resulted in price rolling over here. So you can track the combination of both the composite vibration in the yellow line, plus some of the key individual components here that contribute to that vibration to get you a little bit more insight about how things are changing. Okay, so that's it for the tutorial. I hope you found that interesting. You should have enough information to go and build these recipes for vibrations yourself. The key, like I said, is to have some understanding of the natal chart of the security you're trading. I like to use Astro-Seek to get that understanding, and then you can use that information to identify the vibrations you want to see on your trading view chart. Thanks for listening. Thanks for using time trades, and we'll talk to you again on the next tutorial. Bye now.